thought changing my body would fix my life.
If you've spent time searching for the perfect combination of diet, eating plan, weight loss, and exercise, believing that if you could just get it right, everything would fall into place, but instead you found yourself in a cycle of dieting, emotional eating, weight gain, self-criticism, and find yourself starting all over again, if this is familiar, then this video is for you. Because what keeps this cycle going has far less to do with your body than you've been led to believe.
There was a time when I genuinely believed that if I could just change my body, my life would finally begin. I thought I would feel more confident, more relaxed, more comfortable in my own skin. I thought I would stop worrying about food, stop comparing myself to other people, stop feeling so self-conscious every time summer arrived. So I thought changing my body would change my life. Looking back now, after my own recovery, and more than 25 years helping people recover from eating disorders, disordered eating, and body image struggles, I can see that I wasn't really chasing a different body. I was chasing something much deeper. And I think many people are too, especially at this time of year. As summer arrives, social media fills us with summer body messages, weight loss transformations, wellness challenges, and subtle reminders that perhaps we should be trying a little bit harder. Many people I work with tell me that they thought they were doing okay, but then what always happened is summer comes around. Suddenly, they're thinking about food more. They're thinking about body more, feeling uncomfortable in clothes that were fine just a few months ago, and wondering whether or not they should lose weight. They are also questioning whether food freedom really exists. So if this is you, if you hear yourself in any of these messages, I want you to know that thoughts aren't the problem. People come to me wanting to get rid of the thoughts, the food thoughts, the body thoughts, the comparison with others, also the thoughts about comparing ourselves to our younger self, or what we consider our better looking version of ourselves, the self-criticism, the constant mental calculations about eating, exercise, weight, and appearance. And I understand why. These thoughts are exhausting. But over the years, I've learned that the thoughts themselves are rarely the real issue. The thoughts are the messengers, the clues. They're pointing towards something deeper. They're pointing toward the story behind the thoughts. Many of us carry old stories about ourselves, stories we didn't consciously choose, and stories that were formed through experiences, relationships, expectations, and diet culture, like I'm not enough, the need for approval, the need to be better, the need to work harder than anybody else. And these beliefs often sit quietly in the background for years. We might not even notice that they're there, but they shape how we see ourselves and how we move through the world. And then the diet culture arrives with an offer, a solution. If you change your body, you'll feel better. If you lose weight, you'll become more confident. If you can just get enough control, you'll finally be okay. When I was years younger, that all made perfect sense to me. And I can see many people are still caught in that same promise today. A promise repeated so often to ourselves that it's formed beliefs to live by. And over time, those deeper beliefs become rules that seem completely reasonable on the surface. If I lose weight, I'll feel more confident. If I stay in control around food, I'll feel successful. If I can avoid weight gain, I'll be okay. If I look better, I'll feel better. The problem is that these rules keep us focused on managing our bodies rather than understanding what we truly need. And worse yet, when one goal is reached, it quickly is replaced by another goal. Finish line keeps moving as new goals pop up. And the thoughts feel so powerful. Something happens like you see a photo or you try on summer clothes, you're scrolling through social media, or you hear friends talking about their weight loss, their exercise regime, or their own body dissatisfaction. Or you may notice changes in your own body and suddenly the thoughts arrive. They sound something like, I need to do something. I've let myself go. I should be more disciplined. I need to get back on track. And these thoughts often feel true, urgent, important. What many people don't realize is that these thoughts are being filtered through years and years of body dissatisfaction, comparison, fear, and conditioning. They're not really objective observations. They're interpretations. And when we suspect them to be maybe not true, they keep coming back. There's a reason why they keep returning, and they're so persistent. Every time we repeat them, our brain becomes more efficient at producing them because the brain loves familiarity. The thoughts we've practiced the most become the easiest thoughts to think. And over time, the pathway becomes automatic. Not because the thoughts are true, but because they're familiar. Many of my clients find this enormously relieving because it means that it's not them. They're not broken. Their brain is doing simply what brains do, repeating well-practiced patterns. And the body also gets involved. This isn't just happening in your head. Your nervous system is involved too. When you're constantly evaluating your body, worrying about food, trying to maintain control, your system often experiences this as a threat. The body then becomes vigilant, and food noise becomes louder. Flexibility becomes harder. The urge to control stronger. And because we're now operating from a place of threat, our thinking often becomes narrower and more rigid. Exactly when we need the flexibility. So when we need that flexibility, it becomes harder to access. So the mistake most people make is that naturally we try to fight the thoughts. We promise to stop thinking about food, stop worrying about our bodies, stop comparing, stop obsessing. But the harder we fight a thought, the more attention we give it. The mind starts monitoring for it, checking whether it's still there. And before long, the thought has become even louder. Not because we're weak, but because we lack, or not because we lack willpower, but because that's how minds work. So what I wish I'd known all those years ago is that changing my body was never going to solve the problem I was trying to solve, because the problem wasn't my body. The problem was simply where deeper struggles had landed. The need to be enough, the need to be accepted, the need to feel safe, to feel worthy. Recovery change didn't begin when my body changed. Recovery began when I became curious about what I was really seeking from changing it. And that's the question I often leave clients with today. When the urge to fix your body shows up, and shows up so powerfully, what is it that you're really longing for? Because often beneath the pressure, beneath the food noise, beneath the self-criticism, the longing isn't for a different body. It's for peace, for freedom, to be seen, to have a voice, to live a life with meaning, rather than thinking about food and weight all day long. It's really a search for how to live a meaningful life beyond weight and the size of thighs, skin, and body shape. This is where the healing begins. So if today's video resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. What stood out for you? What questions do you have? What would you like me to cover in a future video? And if you'd like ongoing support, practical insights, and updates on new content, I'd love to welcome you to my newsletter. You'll find the link in the description below. Remember, if you're feeling exhausted by the constant mental load of food, eating, weight, or body image concerns, you're not alone. Recovery is possible, but only one pivot at a time.